Hey, everybody, you are watching and listening to the We Are Rizin podcast. This is your host, Andrew Benjamin, and I'm joined by a very special guest, returning guest with us. We have Stewart Fulton from Pancrase, Noah, Rise, now VTJ. I don't know. He's everywhere. If it's combat sports related in Japan, he is there somehow in some fashion. Stewart, I appreciate you talking to us once again. With all the stuff you're doing, I really appreciate your time.
Thanks, Andrew. Good to be back on here. Yeah, I'm going to need a clone pretty soon.
You really are going to, because when you're not doing anything MMA related, you're getting interviewed on why are you in Japan? Why did you come to Japan? And I think, aren't you doing like modeling stuff? I think at one point you were like a big and tall model or something.
I've been doing that for the last 2 years now. Yeah, so that's an ongoing thing. That's a regular gig for a big and tall, and it's ideal because it's a shop that I've been going to for years now. So it's funny how things turn out.
So I think eventually I'm going to have to start asking you like what you're not doing at this point, because you're doing everything at this point.
Okay, yeah, I'm not competing. I was hoping to be on the mats for at least one jiu-jitsu BJJ tournament this autumn, but that's not happening. I'm not getting enough training in. So yeah, that's one thing that's going to have to change by spring next year.
Well, I know one thing that's not happening and that we want to see happen is eventually see you on a Rizin commentary show. But we've already discussed that a million times. Hopefully that'll happen down the line. Who knows? But well, first off, we're here to have you talk about many things. But the first thing we're going to talk about is Pro Wrestling Noah just finished up the N1, which Nakajima won, and then Nakajima has dethroned now Michi Marufuji. And what do you think about the matchup between Marufuji and Nakajima? I think I don't know if you were paying attention, Noah, a few years ago when Nakajima was a different Nakajima, but Nakajima, man, it's really a 180 what he's done in his career for the last 2 or 3 years. I've never seen such a change that benefited a wrestler so quickly and as not only in the ring but also just as a personality.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that match that Marufuji and Nakajima had?
Well, yeah, legit. The two of them are phenomenal in their own ways. They have quite a different style, but some similarities. So the way that they matched up was great, and it delivered for the fans. Marufuji's legit as they come, and Nakajima himself, very well deserving of this, especially in light of his performances in the tournament this year. The league.
I think also it was a great symbolic matchup as well, because it was definitely felt like the old guard had been, the old Noah had been is now. That's the past. And now this is a new Noah. This officially is a new Noah with Nakajima as champion. So I definitely felt like it was definitely symbolic with how with the outcome as well.
Yeah, that transition's there. The transition's been in play basically since Noah started making big moves, a couple of years back. But yeah, that transition is fully in play now. And it's not a sake of pushing Nakajima through before his time. He has legitimately fought his way up and, up the ladder and improved. And he's very well deserving of that belt.
And now we just Nakajima had his first successful defense against Masato Tanaka, defeated Tanaka handily, no ifs, ands, or buts. What do you see? What do you think is the future is for Nakajima? And what the funny thing is also as Nakajima is that people got to realize is that he's been doing this since he was 16 or 15. He's still young. I don't even think he's even peaked at this point. He still can, the sky's the limit for him, at this point.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. He's still very much up there, and he's going to be a ferocious champion for some time now. Anybody who challenges him has got their hands absolutely full. He's injury free. He's full of life. He kicks like an absolute train wreck. The guy is he's got the personality. Yeah.
If anybody wants to see a match where I've never seen two wrestlers kick each other so hard, and it's ironic because they're part of the same faction. You have to see the finals of the N1 victory. That's Keno versus Nakajima. And like, oh, you think, oh, these two guys they're in a faction together. They're not gonna, they're not, they'll hurt each other, but they're not gonna like. You would swear that these guys were enemies for life with the way that they were just wailing on each other. You were there yourself, like. That must have, it sounded like thunder. It sounded like lightning, just like cracking.
Oh yeah. It was amazing. What a spectacle. And the two of them did not hold back. What made it good really was the fact that they are in the same faction. Albeit, Nakajima is, slightly on the outskirts of that in his own way. But that respect that they have for each other meant that they had to give each other more than 100%. And like you said, those kicks were just amazing. And the whole match was great and difficult to call as well, because you could easily see Keno taking it. Keno has all the tools, all the skills, and he could easily have taken that. But as it turned out, Katsuhiko Nakajima, the tournament was his.
Mm-hmm. So other things are happening, as well. We just had also the national title was defended. Was Fujita versus Sugiura, who I could watch those guys wrestle 1,000 times. Like, and I feel like I sometimes get hurt more watching those two fight because whenever they hurt each other, I feel like I'm getting some sort of like reverberation of just like their chops or their kicks or their forearms. So yeah, I mean, what do you think is next for that division for that title? If you have any idea, if you wanna give any predictions.
Yeah, well, of course, that's on the line this Saturday. It's the co-main event out in Yokohama this Saturday, November the 13th. Masaaki Mochizuki now holds it, and Keno is the challenger. So it's going to be the first title defense for Mochizuki.
Oh yes, I forgot. Yeah, Mochizuki. Yeah, it's so that's another thing that's also great about Noah is that you have veterans who have been who are there, and yet they don't. There's always been this problem in wrestling that veterans outside their welcome. Yet when Noah brings them in, I feel like it's not wrestlers that are taking spots from young guys or anything. I feel like they're on an equal playing field. That they're still there to compete. That they're still, they're not politicking. They're not, using their, whatever. They're there to compete just as hard as the students that are in the Noah dojo or anybody else who's competing in Noah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. Mochizuki. I mean, look at these guys: Mochizuki, Funaki. They're in outstanding shape. I mean, really, still top of the game. Still more than capable of putting the young guys, the young hungry guys who are, they have youth in their favor, still more than capable of putting them away. So it keeps things really exciting.
Now, what do you think? 2022, I think will be Noah's year. I think we're going to see a lot from Noah positively. I think we're going to actually see it become not just, provided, things in Japan, are not as crazy as they are now and all that stuff, things get better. I think if that doesn't happen, I think Noah can potentially, it could potentially reach the level, especially because they got the backing of, I think the company's called Cyber Agent or the, whatever the head company is. They can definitely go compete up against, or at least reach the wrestling consciousness of like New Japan or something like that. Because right now, all Japan is in the back. Nobody's paying attention to that. Dragon Gate, I don't know what's going on in Dragon Gate right now. I'm sure everything is fine in those promotions, but just like I don't hear anybody talking about them the way that I'm hearing people, starting to come to Noah. And I think 2022 can be that year for Noah. Do you agree with that? Do you think that, provided that everything in Japan, gets better, we can start to see like Noah expand and really thrive as possibly a second promotion, the second biggest promotion in Japan.
Yeah, fully, Andrew. They, of course, everybody's had some setbacks because of the COVID situation, and Noah's no different. But even, considering the setbacks, Noah has still been able to pull through with some incredibly big shows this year, and put on some fantastic cards for the fans. And then you've got the borders opening up, the travel visas becoming more available again. So next year we're going to have an influx of wrestlers from abroad, which elevates it even more. They're hungry to get here. The Noah roster is hungry to get their hands on them, and it's going to be dynamite. It's going to be fantastic. 2022 kicking off on January the 1st at the Nippon Budokan with another big show, with a couple of big surprises in store as well there in addition to that. So yeah, even just looking at the start of the year, it's kicking off with a bang. So it's only going to elevate.
And
really
yeah,
excited.
Sorry, go ahead.
Really excited for Noah in 2022.
I am too. Hopefully, as somebody who lives in America, hopefully Noah can come here as promotion as well. I don't know, during like a WrestleMania weekend or something. I think a lot of people would. I think a lot of wrestling fans would be interested in seeing a Noah. Especially now. With the New Japan being the biggest promotion in Japan, but like a lot of fans are being there's been a lot of negative responses to how it's being promoted now and just how it's, what's going on with what they're doing. So, people, when people don't like something in wrestling, they always look for an alternative. And Noah just might be the Japanese alternative to what is, just like that pure, no nonsense wrestling that drew people to New Japan back in 2012, 2013 when Bushiroad bought him out. And Noah just might be the answer to that, or like a Ring of Honor, even or even how Noah first started. So I think a lot of wrestling fans, especially American wrestling fans, we are tired of like all the WWE stuff, and that's not what we want in wrestling. Like I think Noah can definitely be, Nakajima. I was telling you off air, Nakajima he can be popular just by kicking people the entire time in a ring, and people would just be like, this guy is a psychopath.
Oh yeah, he's going to kick someone's head into the crowd one of these days. It's going to be fantastic. Yeah, but take it from me, Andrew, Noah is not playing around. Really steadfast in their product, and like you said, pure wrestling. Really good matchups, and delivering for the fans every time with the storylines and all the different factions and the way everything's playing out. It's great that we just had a precursor to the big show in Yokohama on Saturday, Demolition Stage 2021 in Yokohama, which is headlined by Kaito Kiyomiya and Masaki Tamiya, making their first. Eventually, they're finally making their first GHC Tag Team Championship title defense. So Keiji Muto is in there with Naomichi Marufuji. Of course, you've got that, all the history with Masa breaking up with Katsuhiko, and Kiyomiya and him teaming up, taking the tag belts. Then you've got the ongoing drama with Kiyomiya and Muto, because that's another one of those passing of the torches that eventually has to happen. And yeah, he's still so hungry. So yeah, Muto Marufuji, the M's Alliance pair. It was quite funny how that all came about, but yeah, it's happening now. And I just watched an interview after the the show, the precursor show yesterday. And for everybody who is looking to tune in for Demolition Stage 2021 in Yokohama this Saturday, you will want to watch that precursor, which was November 10, which I think is still November 10 with you. You will want to watch that to see how that went down. But I just watched an interview, and Keiji Muto was saying, well, you know, if me and Marufuji can't do it, then I'll jump in with Masato Tanaka and we'll challenge them again. So he's not letting up either. And of course, Marufuji was like, so does that mean it's going to be my fault if we don't take the belts? So that was quite a funny exchange. Of course, like I said earlier, the co-main event, Masaki Mochizuki defending his GHC national championship, also a first title defense, and none other against Ken O. So that's going to be, talking about kicks, you're going to see plenty in that one. There's another title match, isn't there? Yeah, the GHC Junior Heavyweight Championship. So Hayata taking on Aliha. Everybody thought it was probably going to be Tadasuke doing the challenge there, but no, Aliha's in. So yesterday was basically a setup to see, how legit Aliha is as a challenger for the belt that Hayata holds.
And so just to clarify, these are all going to be on Fight and also Wrestling Universe, right? I think you have the ability to get them on both, or is it? I know that some of those shows were on Fight, but if not, they're all going to be on Wrestling Universe, I assume, right?
This one is not on Fight TV. No, this is on Wrestle Universe.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, gotcha. And by the way, just for everybody who doesn't know about Wrestling Universe, I think right now it's like a special deal. Like if you sign up now, you just pay for the month of January, but you get it free until the end of January or something along those lines.
Yeah. Well, the original deal was October, November, December, and January, 4 months for the price of January. So you had to pay for January, but you would have got 4 months free. And it's still going. So that's why I'm saying, if anybody is looking to watch this big show on Saturday, get on now. There's no excuse. You can get on there for, it's a ridiculously cheap price. You're just paying for 1 month in January.
In addition, you also get DDT, you get TJPW. I'm trying to think. I know there's one other promotion that's also on there as well. I think there's one other promotion as well. I think that's like part of the Cyber Fight umbrella. I just pay attention to Noah, so I don't really pay attention to DDT anymore. But I think there's one more promotion as well. But yeah, it's the same price. It's I think it's the equivalent of like $9.99 US. So yeah, you're getting more than one promotion, and now you can get it for 2 months for free. Just pay for January. So like now's the best time to get Noah, and also you can see stuff from the past as well. You can catch up, watch the N1 victory. You can see Keno and Nakajima kick the shit out of each other. You can see maybe the best tag match of the year when he was in Congo, Kitamiya and Nakajima taking on Sugiura and Sakuraba for the tag team titles, which has maybe the best finish I've ever seen to a tag match, at least like within the last 20 years. That's all I can say.
Phenomenal. Yeah, phenomenal. GAMPRO is the other one, Andrew.
Ganbare Pro. That's the other one I was thinking of. Yes. But yeah, you're getting so much for the price of one. It's really it's really a great deal. And yeah, especially 2022, I think that's going to be Noah's year to break out among wrestling fans. And we're going to change topics to something that's happening also this weekend. It will be the Rise Osaka 2 show. If I can find the graphic behind me. There we are. From is it Osaka Edion Arena? I believe it is, right?
No, it's a different venue this time. It's one we haven't been to.
Oh wow, okay. I wrote down. I assumed it was Osaka Edion Arena. I wrote that down. On my thing. Let me actually see what it is. Oh, the Marazone Intech Arena. Oh, okay.
Rizin Tech, yeah.
Oh, okay. I know that arena. Okay. Oh, I thought it was gonna. I assumed it was gonna because every show's been at 80 on arena. I was like, oh, okay, it'll just be back to 80 on. It's on the poster as well. I should have actually realized that. I feel like a fool now. But well, I mean, okay, it's a Rise show because there'll be 1,000 fights on there. We're not gonna talk about every fight. I'll tell you the fight that I'm looking forward to the most. Khan Nakamura, Yaman. Yaman had the one. Was one of only two people who finished at the last show that Rise had. Beautiful, just knockout as well.
Oh, yeah,
and so I like this is Khan Nakamura. Whenever like you probably heard this because you've been in the fight game for so long. Like, oh, that guy has some like dead bodies in his closet. I'm sure that if you ever went to Khan Nakamura's house, you find like tons of dead bodies in like his backyard in Osaka because that guy is a freaking psychopath. Every time, like when he's not fighting, he's looking for a fight. That's what I feel like he's always trying to do. He's always trying to find a fight. You know what? Actually, you know what? Reminds me of Jens Pulver. Jens Pulver, who would just go to like bars just to fight with people, just to prepare for his fights in UFC. That I feel like I get that energy from Nakamura.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he's a beast. Well, his nickname, his ring name is a hybrid beast. This one against Yaman is at lightweight, so that's the 63 kilogram division in Rise. They'll have the 8-ounce gloves on for that one, but like you said, Yaman had that brutal knockout the last time, and Khan Nakamura himself, I mean, the guy is just violence personified. He's not out there for a tickling match. He wants to put you away in the first round.
Like even when he I'm trying to think his last match in Rise was against Taiga, and just like I feel like he's one of those guys when you face him, even if you go all 3 rounds, you're still not the same fighter after that. I feel like it's just like there's just something that like there's just something. I think you said it, like he's there's just something that fighters after facing him. It's like I don't know what it is, but like they are totally different people.
Yeah, he likes to take part of your soul with him. And yeah, he goes out for the KO every time. Taiga is in against Genji Umeno this time, so that's arguably a much better matchup for him, because he's had ups and downs, and a fair bit of downs really. So I'm sure the fans of his will be looking to see something more.
Listen,
Taiga-ish.
I gotta give him credit. There was that time where he was like on like that 5-6 fight losing streak, and it was kind of like almost a joke because like you watch a fight of him and he would just lose and like no offense or anything, but like very embarrassing ways that like somebody of his talent should never have lost. But I gotta give him credit. This guy, you know what? He's still in the game. He never gave up. He just he's like, yeah, I got knocked down 1,000 times, but I keep on getting back up. So I got to hand it to him. He could have just quit a long time ago, but he's like, you know what? Bring on the next fight. This is the one I'm going to win, which, that's very admirable. It's totally different mentality than here in the West where like, you know what? You lose 3 and then suddenly like no one wants to use you. But, listen, he's back, he's back a month or 2 later.
Yeah. He's still got it in him. So it's just the sake of finding that sweet spot where he can get back on form. So it's a good matchup with Genji Umeno, with his pure Muay Thai style. It could be a very technical match, and yeah, both of them hit hard.
I'm actually glad that Umeno's back because I wasn't so sure he'd recover from that headbutt from Cozy from the Rizin show. I thought he still would be out because that was not a good headbutt, a headbutt clash that those two had.
No, most unfortunate. And in fact, one of those happened at the VTJ at the weekend there, and the result got overturned. So it does happen, but that's a good one. Kaito, it's going to be good seeing Kaito back in there.
I love Kaito. Kaito is one of my I think that guy is just he does shoot boxing, kickboxing. He's I definitely would give him the nickname the Phenom. Like he is so exciting to watch whenever he's in. He's just so like the way he moves, like my dream match would be I don't know, like him versus Taiju Shiratori. I would just love to see those two lanky guys just go at it. I think that's my dream fight for them. I don't know if they're the same weight class, but like I just feel like that their styles complement each other. But yeah, Kaito's on the card. I think I'm excited. Is this his first time in Rise? I think.
No, I don't think so. When was the last one?
He may have been on one of the Rise numbered shows, but this may be like, I guess, major Rise shows.
He has fought on a Rise show before, yeah, but it's it's good to see him back. Like you said, yeah, tall. He's a tall guy, 180 centimeters, and he uses his length and his tools similarly to Shiratori, like you said. So a matchup between them would be great. But this one is against Masashi Nakajima, and it's at middleweight, 70 kilograms. So that's pretty good. And
Nakajima's, he's a Rise regular. He's been on a bunch of the shows as well. It's an interesting matchup between these two. I also think that Nakajima, he usually fights at I think featherweight, or the equivalent of what would be a Rise featherweight. So I think he's going up a weight class for this fight as well.
Yeah, it's a good weight class for them, and we could see something really explosive, and with the 8-ounce gloves on.
Yeah. Oh yes, 8-ounce gloves as well. One of the
then you've got Masahiko Suzuki and Rui Ebata. They've got the 6-ounce gloves on, fighting at bantamweight, 55 kilograms. That's the co-main event at Rise World Series Osaka 2 on Sunday. This is the 14th. I'm getting excited just thinking about that already.
Fight stylistically, because both Ibate brothers, Mitsuki and Rui, they're both very technical. That doesn't mean, a lot of people say, oh, technical just means boring. No, they are like bread and butter kickboxing, Japanese kickboxing. Like they are fantastic. They are like, when I watch them, it's like art when they do it. Suzuki, on the other hand, is knockout power. Nothing pretty, nothing fancy. It's just like this. This hook didn't knock you out. Okay, I'm gonna try this cross. Oh, that didn't work. Oh, I'm gonna try. It's all power and violence with Suzuki. So I think that is an incredibly interesting stylistic matchup between those two, because you have technical versus pure unadulterated violence and knockout power.
Yeah, and the two of them are from great gyms, great dojos. Rui Ebata from the Ihara dojo, which has produced some fantastic fighters. Suzuki from the Yamaguchi dojo. Let's not forget that. We maybe talked about this before, Andrew, but let's not forget that absolute barn burner with Suzuki and Soma Tameda.
Yes, where they were both Suzuki got knocked down, then Tamada got knocked down, and then it was just who's gonna get that last snag. Suzuki won, obviously, but no, like that's the type of fighter that Suzuki is. Like, and I think, I rewatched that, and I was thinking, what? I think Suzuki got more stronger every time, like when he got knocked down. I think that invigorated him. He's like, oh, this guy who's not on my level knocked me down. Okay. I think that, if Ibata, I know this is going to sound really strange. I think if Ibata somehow is able to get a knockdown on Suzuki, I think that'll be worse for Ibata than to just try to win with volume, or just, with significant strikes. I don't, does that make, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, you could be very right there. The resolve that Masahiko Suzuki has, it makes him incredibly dangerous and a frightening opponent when you think about it. I mean, you think you're strong and you beat some tough guys, you've got the skills to knock him down, but can you knock him down and keep him down? If he's going to get up and keep coming at you, it's a whole different world. It's a whole different level of kickboxing. And just as a side note there, Soma Tameda is opening the main card on the Rise show in a super flyweight fight. We could see another great one there at the very first match. There's three undercard fights. We won't be putting English commentary over them. We're just doing the 14 which is plenty, main
Mhm.
card fights. So yeah, Soma Tamada kicks that off. And
And
then,
then
of course,
you have the main
the
event.
main event. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And speaking of resolve, Andrew, you know, Suzuki's one thing, but Kento Haraguchi, he also has it to the nth degree. I mean, you can knock him down, but he will not have his name or fate taken away from him by anyone. He'll get right back up and come
Mhm.
at you even harder. And this is a really tough one. This is a big main event when you think about it. Kento Haraguchi and Bet Panmurung Kat Mukau.
I'm glad you
Who's
said that name because I didn't want to say his name and screw it up because I was trying to figure out how to say his name because I have it here written one way, but that's his kickboxer name. That's his Muay Thai kickboxing name as opposed to his birth name, given name. So I'm glad you got to get the name out. Like, good luck. I give you and Brian McGrath all the credit for actually trying to say that name as many times as you can on the broadcast. So
yeah.
congratulations.
I'll be speaking to him before the broadcast just to get some hints on how to say it properly. I usually do that with any fighters any non-Japanese fighters that come across. I speak to them to get the pronunciation of their names right first.
So,
But
yeah,
yeah, Pet Tamarang,
yeah.
guys,
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, dude's a beast. I mean, Glory featherweight champion. He took the interim championship first, and no, it was maybe he won a tournament, the interim championship, and then the Glory featherweight championship with 3-4 title defenses. Got knockout of the year in 2018. I mean, this guy's frightening, and hats off to Kento Haraguchi for not just taking this fight but requesting it. Andrew, he wanted to fight the best, and when you think about it, there's not too many others in Japan that we could give him right now, and because we couldn't do the full-blown World Series this year, we had to basically do the World Series with the best world class level kickboxers in Rise. But the normal World Series had to be cancelled because we couldn't bring in fighters. But as a result of a lot of heavy movements with the big players, the Rise CEO, Mr. Ito, Genki Sudo, who is now in office in
By the way,
government.
for those that don't know, so like maybe want to. So why is there Thai guys on the Rise cards? That's all Genki Sudo. Genki Sudo is basically kind of like being like the liaison or representative for the entire Kagotoki industry, and is getting all these fighters that probably if there wasn't somebody of his stature in there, probably would be like Kento Haraguchi be facing another Japanese guy. Not that that's bad or anything, but there wouldn't be any variety in the card.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've got a lot of respect to Genki for putting in work, and well, everybody really at that top level. Rizin hasn't been able to do that, but Rise and VTJ have. So it's going to be great to have somebody of the caliber of Pet Panmurung coming over, and not only did Kento want this, but the CEO, Mr. Ito, Takashi Ito, he was able to keep his promise to Kento to bring the best over for him. So it's a win-win all round. It's going to be great. Absolutely.
I don't know who's gonna if he beats him, if Kento beats him, this weekend. I don't know who's gonna face next. He would have really almost have gone through almost everybody by this point. It's you literally have to maybe start doing rematches, or he'll have to start going up a weight class or something. I have no idea who he's gonna fight next. He's requesting the best because he's fought everybody else. Like literally, you look at his record. He hasn't lost in like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years. It's been a long time since he last actually lost. But like he's been just on a constant upward streak, and that's kind of it's great that he's winning, but it's almost like I don't know who he's going to face next. And that's, it's exciting, but, and, especially if, if we can get more, foreigners in, that makes it a lot more exciting because then, it could be, ISK a champion from wherever, that Kento hasn't faced or somebody from, I'm hoping that, that's for Kento's career's sake, like Japan opens up because then he can finally start getting more opponents that are outside Japan.
Yeah. Well, this is why we're really looking forward to the World Series next year. 5 big tournaments actually next year for Rise, and the World Series being one of them. So we'll be able to bring in more Thai guys, and not just Thai, but as you know from the 2019 World Series tournaments, we had guys from all over the world and nothing but the best coming over. So that's going to be even better next year. But this fight is very, very interesting. You've got Kento with his karate and boxing background. I mean, he's had a few pro boxing fights as well. And then you've got Pet Pamarung with the pure Muay Thai style. But when you watch him fight, he'll easily switch from that bread and butter Muay Thai style, where if somebody sits on the outside, he'll quite happily pick them apart. But he's got that ability to switch to just wild, unabandoned violence when somebody brings it to him. And that's the only way that Kento's going to win. Kento can't sit on the outside and play the game.
But also
or he'll lose.
The great thing about Kento as well is that he knows how to dictate the pace of the match. You know what? If he can't score a knockout, you know what? He'll switch it up and be like, okay, volume punches, body punches, leg kicks, whatever I can do to get points in the judge's eyes. He is an incredible fight IQ kickboxing. I think one of the best I am currently right now because he knows how to adapt to what is going on in the fight. If something's not working, okay, he easily switches to some sort of other way to win. And that's rarely, also doesn't get tired. That also help. I don't think he even sweats. I don't think I've ever seen him actually drip sweat in there. It seems to be almost routine at this point for him. But I just want to say as well, because a lot of I'm sure a lot of these kickboxers that come to Rise and other promotions, they're all like, oh, I'm gonna get that first round knockout, and that first round knockout doesn't happen, and they kind of get dejected, and they're like, okay, they start to slow down a little bit. Kento, is like, okay, I'm just gonna do it this way. And then, I'm gonna win this way. And he can adapt so well that I think a lot of other kickboxers I see don't do, or they should take after that.
Yeah, very hard to read, and exactly the same can be said about Pet Pamarung. They've got that basic style. When you watch, you can identify their individual styles, but they can switch it up, and they're both very hard to read. So that's what makes this fascinating.
Oh yeah, I cannot wait for this fight. For everybody that wants to check it out, it's available on Fight TV. You'll hear from yours truly, Stewart Fulton, and Brian McGrath. I think Brian says he's gonna be on commentary review as well, right? Brian
McGrath, yeah, he'll be in there. He's just fresh off a fight. He fought in Rise, and then he just fought in Knockout. So yeah, he'll be joining me again. We had such a great time these last couple of shows, and yeah, it's going to be fantastic. Me and Brian make a good team, I think, and the card's phenomenal. Rise World Series in Osaka 2. Get on it, Fight TV.
And actually, we have 2 fan questions from Apparatus Flatus, both related to kickboxing. His first question is, my understanding is that he, referring to you, is majorly responsible for getting English commentary to happen at all in the first place. Is that true or false? So he's asking if you're the reason why Rise and all these other things have English commentary.
I didn't directly approach Rise. I think it's one of these mutual things. Things originally happened for me with Pancrase, as you know, and I was able to make my name there, and that in turn got the attention of Knockout, which were making big moves at the time, trying to get to the top of the pile. But as it turns out, Rise overtook everybody to the top of the pile. So they knew me already through the connection with Abema TV So yeah, although I originally chased down the Pancrase gig myself, that in turn had people headhunting me. So yeah, it's a bit of a circular affair.
Part two of he's actually got three questions. That's the first question. Second question he has is, if I pay for a weapon of Stewart's choosing, can he wield it while having a respectful conversation with K1?
I'm not exactly sure what that metaphor means. What does that
I think
mean?
like if like somehow you could get involved with like K1 or like commentary, because they used to have English commentary, I think, as well. With Brian doing the commentary, and then that just kind of like disappeared. It's like
Yeah.
I so like I don't know, like is there any way that you can I don't know, talk. I guess he wants to know if like, hey, can you do the same thing for K1, or would be willing to do the same thing for K1 if the opportunity comes along?
Yeah, well, K1 they did a whole number of shows with Brian and a friend of his, but they were recording after the fact. It wasn't
Mhm.
ringside, and they were sat in a studio for hours and hours doing just bout after bout. So it's difficult to get a wave of excitement going that you would ringside for one single show. That mixed with the fact that they're, how can I put it? The production was pretty crap. The sound was no good.
Mhm.
And even Brian said himself, it was difficult to really get into the excitement of it when you're sitting just churning out bout after bout. So yeah, I'll be quite honest with you, Andrew. K1's dropped the ball.
Oh yeah.
They still have the name, and that's it. As far as live broadcasts, international live broadcasts, with good commentary, it's not happening. They don't want to. I don't think they have a reasonable budget for it, and they don't really. I think whoever's taking care of that side of things doesn't know what to do. So yeah, unfortunately, that's not happening, and I'm not touching it.
And they are, they're that stereotype of like, oh, Japanese companies are always, behind the wheel when it comes to, I think that's K1 in a nutshell. Because last year when they ran unopposed with their K Festa show, but remember that was like that week there was like ain't nothing going on because the pandemic had like really had been just declared the pandemic, and they ran that one show in Osaka, and people were saying, oh, K1 shouldn't run because whatever and all that stuff. That was like, to find just that show alone was like, I had to go through some skeevy websites to find that show. And the fact that they didn't see that opportunity and be like, okay, why don't we monetize this for an international audience? Because we're the only one who's running this week, tells me that they don't know what they're doing, like promotion wise. If you can't recognize that if you're the only one who's like running a show one weekend, you don't see the opportunity to monetize it, even without some sort of like English commentary or whatever, then I don't know. I don't know what else to tell you, man. And
yeah, they don't know what they're doing, or they don't care that much about it. So yeah, I've really got nothing much more to say about that. It's a pity, but that's the way it is right now. The top of the pile is Rise. So all eyes on Rise.
and part three of this question, and this is a legitimate question, and it's very interesting to hear your thoughts. As a guy who sees everything up close, does kickboxing have any chance of holding on to its future big stars? There's an insanely deep amateur system that refines fighters to a razor's edge and then puts them in a world where the pinnacle can be getting $50,000 for a tournament.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's it's only going to grow.
Mhm.
When you look at the new talent that's coming through, and well, MMA as well, but kickboxing especially. I mean, you've got kids at like 15, 16 years old, and they're absolute killers. And once they start to get more bone density and muscle mass and strength in their late teens and early 20s, they're yeah, outstanding, and yeah, world-class level. There's even too many to reel off to you right now. But there's plenty of new stars coming through. So with Tenshin, 2 more kickboxing bouts left. He'll be leaving the kickboxing world to go to boxing. That's not a big blow, to be honest. There's still plenty of guys right now at the top, and loads of new guys coming through. I think I maybe mentioned before, Hinata Terayama's brother out at Teppen Gym there, Ryoga. He's hugely impressed me on these rise cards, and I think he's just about to compete in Rizin.
Yep. Next next weekend. No, wait.
He opens the
Yes.
the Rizin card.
Yes, against I think it's against Hiroki. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, keep your eyes on him. He's got the sense, he's got it in his DNA, and he's being trained by the Teppen Gym head coach, Tenshin Nasukawa's father.
Mm-hmm.
He's in the best hands. The guy has a bright future, and he's only just one example. There's tons more. So yeah, the future of kickboxing and stars in kickboxing is bright. Make no mistake about that.
I think though, it's understandable when fans like when like the biggest star, like when Tenshin leaves, I think it's normal for fans to be like, oh, that's the end of the industry, all that stuff. I think the same thing was said when Mike Tyson retired from being heavyweight boxing, and they said the same thing when Evander Holyfield retired and then Lennox Lewis retired. But the industry for the most part, eventually comes around. And I think especially kickboxing, yeah, listen, it may not be like a month later that we'll have the newest Tenshin, but the newest, the next Tenshin, whether that's Kento Haraguchi or potentially Kaito Ono, or who knows, Taiju Shiratori, maybe. That it can happen eventually at some point.
Yeah. So it swings and roundabouts. The only constant is change. And well, what makes it particularly sad or painful is when somebody like Tenshin Nasukawa or even Genki Sudo, going back to that name, they retire before their time's up, before still got more left in the tank. With Genki, it was a different thing. He wanted to go into a different career. With Tenshin, of course, it's he's still in the fight sports, just not kickboxing. So that makes it a little bit different from guys that just get older and retire. The fans, they want to see a bit more. They've seen greatness and they want to keep seeing it. But that's just the way things are. And it's you just got to look forward. You just got to keep moving forward. There's loads of guys coming through. So yeah.
And right now, I'm crossing my fingers for maybe Tenshin and Takaru, maybe still holding out teeny bit of sliver of hope. We got one more month, so maybe that will actually happen. Who knows at this point? But next, the last thing we're going to talk about is Pancrase 325, which will be going on next month at the I think it's the last show at Usen Studio Coast, right?
It is, yeah. The venue itself is going to be disappearing after many years, and we've had some it was a live music venue for a long time, but we've had some great shows there at Pancrase since we moved from the last venue, which got tore down for the Olympics. So yeah, it's a very nostalgic way to finish off the year. And 3 title fights on that card. December the 12th, lightweight King of Pancrase Championship. So Takasuke Kume is finally back and able to unify the title. He's got Tatsuya Saika, Yambo.
Saiga is something else. That guy, for those that don't know, every fight he's won finished first round knockouts. He's not even in his pro career has not seen the second round. That's like insane. And like he's knocked out Tom Santos, Kempe Hayashi. That was the last fight that he had for Pancrase. Like that's insane to me that like he has that's what his fight career is now, is not going beyond the first round.
Yeah. He's frightening. That last fight against Genpei Hayashi. Oh wow, when he knocked him out, was it the uppercut?
Yes, that was the uppercut, and Hayashi just went like I think he went just like down, like it was like lights out knockout, lights out uppercut.
Taking out somebody like Hayashi in that fashion,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, I was there on the balcony, like, oh my god. But Kume is another beast, as we know.
Mm-hmm.
He's very well. To beat Kume, you have to knock him out. You're highly unlikely to beat him on points. You're not going to grind him out. He will grind absolutely everybody out, and his spirit is unbreakable.
Mm-hmm.
You have to stop him. You have to knock him out. A knockdown's not enough. A couple of knockdowns are not enough. You've got to finish this guy, and that's what makes this one really, really fascinating.
I definitely, because this tells if the outcome of this fight, whether, if Saika, I don't want to say like, that those other fights, were easy fights for him, but if this fight is like, if he can knock out Kume in the first round, like, I think Saiga is going to be one of those guys that like, okay, those weren't just, lucky punches that he got and his other 7 or 8 fights that he had. This guy is a first round knockout artist at his weight class at 155, which is that's like heavyweight power. If he can knock out Kume like that.
Yeah, if he can, he'll prove to the world exactly where he belongs. But this is the toughest fight of his career. Make no mistake about that. Taking on Takashi Kume with his experience, his championship experience, the level of competition he's faced. It's a really tough one for Saika. Yeah, big test for him.
And that's one of the title fights that'll be happening with the other title fight. I think it's the co-main.
We've got the strawweight King of Pancrase Championship. So Daichi Takata. Well, what we're seeing is these guys basically coming back from their one championship contracts and Rizin and whatever.
By the way, I just also want to bring up that Nakata was supposed to fight in Rizin, but he had a really bad weight cut. I think he was supposed to be fighting not a strawweight, but like a catch weight. I think it was against, or 120 one time against Yusaku Nakamura. But whatever, we're glad to see him back. Hopefully, there's no lingering effect of that cut on this fight or with this cut just in general. So glad to see that he's back and at least seems to be like he can go again.
Oh yeah. He's a great fighter, and he's making his first title defense. So he's up against a K-Place dojo guy who, K-Place has produced quite a lot of good fighters. Number 1 ranked strawweight Yuta Miyazawa, and nowhere near as experienced. And this is another tough call for the challenger, Miyazawa. But he's proved that he deserves the number 1 ranked spot in the strawweight division in Pancrase. So yeah, that's the other title match. The third one is the bantamweight. It's an interim bantamweight King of Pancrase Championship. Rui Imura versus Taichi Nakajima. Imura, 6-0, all finishes.
I've seen 2 of his fights. I saw 2 of his fights from 324 and 320. Oh my god, I'm forgetting what it was. Oh god, I forgot. But yeah, he's finishing people left and right. I think he's a guy that will choke you out or break your arm.
But he's going to be hard pushed to put Taichi Nakajima away. Taichi Nakajima, of course, he's fought for the featherweight championship. But he's dropping to bantamweight for this, so that's going to be interesting to see Nakajima at bantamweight. Imura versus Nakajima for the interim bantamweight King of Pancrase Championship. That's the third one, the third belt on the line on that card.
And then, there's a whole bunch of other fights that look interesting as well. We got the return of Koshi Matsumoto. We got Toshiomi Kazuma, who we talked to a million times from the Hearts dojo under Kenji Osawa. As well. So we got to talk about, 2 fights we got to talk about Yuki Kondo returning. I don't know. I can't do math. So I'm looking at his record right now and like whatever 200 fight. I don't know, whatever it is at this point, but returning to fight against Kazuki, man, he won his last fight. Kondo, just like, hey, we're talking about pro wrestling. We're like, hey, you know what? When these older guys come here, they're not here to lose. They're here to still here to put on. If you want to say this, we saw the same Nakamura, Daisuke Nakamura at Rizin a few weeks ago. Hey, we saw that he put away a guy who 2 or 3 years ago may have beaten him actually.
Yep.
But now it's almost like there's like a resurgence of like the veterans in like these sports of like they're coming back and they're like, you know what? No, it's not my time yet. I'll decide when it's my time. And I would.
The key there is the matchmaking, Andrew, because we're kidding ourselves on if some of these guys are making another title run. It's not happening. Mm-hmm. But can they still give exciting fights? Yes. Can they still help build storylines for future champions? Yes, because they're legends. So to see Yuki Kondo still in the game and still getting good matchups, he's not getting. I mean, he's getting legit matchups, but nobody that's just going to absolutely maul him in the first round. It's going to be an exciting match. So yeah,
I disagree with that title thing though. I think we have a future title contender in Daisuke Nakamura for Rizin because he has beaten Ushiku. So listen, we might be saying soon Rizin featherweight champion Daisuke Nakamura at this point. Who knows?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Nakamura could beat Ushiku quite easily. Yeah, I've mentioned that the Ushiku title match on Twitter. I don't want to go into any more detail, but that to me, it's not quite legit enough yet for me.
Oh yeah, no, totally understandable. Understandable. One of the other fights though, I have to talk about because we always talk about the date team whenever we're talking about Pancrase because they are a date staple. We got Tomoki Otsuka taking on the pro debuting Goku date, and I have to say, like, I didn't put the picture on here, but if you look up Goku date and his picture, like, this is peak dates. I don't know where else they could go. You have Tiger Mask, Satoru date. You had Nori, who's now not date anymore. You got but this is like I don't know who's next. Naruto date. I don't know, Power Ranger date or a Super Sentai Ranger date. I don't know who it's gonna be now, but like look up Goku date and you'll just see this picture and you'll be like, okay, this is peak team date, and I don't know where they could, but like I don't know if you talk to this kid at all. And he's a kid, by the way. He's like only like 17, 18, or 19, I believe. No, I don't think he's even 20. But like, have you interacted with anybody from the date team on this card by any chance yet?
I haven't spoken to Goku date, no, but yeah, he's young. I mean, the guy's not even had a razor to his face yet. But as far as the characters and names go, I mean, the only limit is your imagination with the date team. And yeah, like you said, the branching off of three of the members, Kazuki Date, who is now Darani. So he's basically branched off with two of the girls, Karen and Nori, under the Pravajra name.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, go ahead. It's quite a fascinating team that they have there, and it's interesting that they have branched off slightly.
And in fairness, Satoru Date, he won the Neo Blood flyweight strawweight tournament, I think it was a few months ago, I think. And finished every opponent that he had. So, you think on the surface, this is like a joke team. This is like some sort of gimmick MMA. No, it's like if you watch Satoru Date, like that's like, and I think he even did like a super kick at one point, or like he did some. That's how he knocked out one the people in the tournament. No, it's like they have legit people on here. They have legit people on the team. It's like the gimmick is part of what they sell as a fight, but they actually are training their fighters to actually fight. It's not just the gimmick. Yeah,
it's not. No, and what makes it exciting is underneath the surface, you scratch the surface of the characters and the names, they're not just MMA guys. I mean, they have a very unique style. They're not wrestling heavy. They're not BJJ guys. They're MMA guys who are out there to strike and escape from wrestling and grappling and keep striking. So that adds another flavor to the cards, because you get a whole bunch of guys that are, very, very similar across a lot of gyms. They do very similar training, very wrestling heavy or grappling heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's totally fine, but it's nice to see it getting mixed up with the date team and the Pravager team.
And briefly on the Pancrase front as well, congratulations to Akira in his Rizin debut and getting that North-South choke, which he credits to Shintaro Ishiwatari teaching him, and then putting the challenge to Takanori Gomi. So yeah, it was great to see Akira come in, face the bigger guy.
Like, what weight did that take place at?
I think it was a welterweight. It was it catch weight or was it light catch weight, lightweight? I think it may have been 155.
Either way, I think it's good for Akira to be moving up, like he did in Pancrase. He moved up a weight class, because he's short. It made sense for him to cut weight, and he would still be, yoked.
Yeah.
And he hits like a truck. I believe Andy Main told me that Akira probably was one of the hardest hitters he'd ever faced. So yeah, even though he's not tall, it's good to see him up a weight class because he's much stronger and yeah, he's got the tools,
And one of the last fighters I want to talk about before you head out, we talk to him all the time whenever he has a fight. Hirotaka Nakata. I think he's a future star for the featherweight division. I think that guy has it I'm not just saying this because he's talked to us 1,000 times. I legitimately believe that we're gonna see him go on to be a successful fighter inside Pancrase, outside Pancrase, whether that's UFC, Bellator, Rizin. I think that guy. I think Nakata is if you want to talk about an ace of a division, he might just be the future ace for featherweights.
Oh, yeah, I fully agree with you. He's got fire in his belly. He trains well. He pulls everything out when he gets in the ring or the cage. Very bright future for him. I'm keeping my eyes very, very.
And speaks English. That's the other advantage he has over many other fighters. He can speak English.
Huge. Yeah. I mean, even just taking the mic after a fight and giving words to the fans in Japanese and English, it makes a huge difference to your popularity.
Oh, absolutely. So definitely fans should check him out whenever he's on a Pancrase card. And if you want to check out Pancrase, will it still be on Tiget, or I never knew how to pronounce it. I call it Tiget. Tiget. Okay. Tiget.com. I don't think it's official. Sorry, go ahead.
I think it comes from ticket and get.
Real? Oh, okay. One of those weird Japanese combo words. Okay. Tiget.com, which is where you can see all the Pancrase shows for the time being. Listen, the great thing is that also if you can't watch it or you can't watch 6 hours of Pancrase in one night, hey, you get it's on you can have it for on demand for I think 20-25 days, something along those lines.
Yeah, unfortunately, no international broadcast, no English comms for Pancrase 325, but believe me, we're working on it, and I hope to be able to announce something in the early months of 2020.
I've always said this: if you can't have English commentary, ever, the bare minimum, just have the fighters' names in English. That's good enough for me. It should be good enough for a lot of people. I know it's not for whatever reason, but regardless, Pancrase is putting on good stuff now. You get to see future fighters. You get to see fighters that are great right now. Excel in Pancrase. You might see them in Rizin, Bellator, whatever. But Pancrase is a great watch for any sort of division, any sort of fights, just to see, and especially when, things open up, I'm sure we'll get back, Brazilians, the Americans, coming back as well. So, right now, enjoy just seeing, future Japanese prospects right now, like Hirotaka Nakata and Toshiomi Kazama and, Satoru Date, excuse me. I always call him Date because I'm so used to just saying the Japanese version. I keep on forgetting it's Date.
Yeah, Guy was doing that as well for a while in the broadcast. But yeah, it's Date.
Yeah, so the date team, who knows? Maybe Goku Date will I don't know, pull some crazy Goku-ness on there, and we'll get to see Takasuki Kume, a very underrated fighter, I think. And yeah, this is gonna be a great show. So yeah, Tyget, is it available right now, or is it gonna be like officially like?
I think it is. I think it is available already. I need
Okay,
to
because
double.
last time I checked, I couldn't find it, but then again, I didn't. I forgot that I was trying to look for it in English, but it's a Japanese website. So like, whatever, I'll have to like go on Pancrase's I guess profile, whatever, to find it. But yeah, it'll be available on Tyget either now or eventually. So, but other than that, Stuart, anything else that you got to plug? Anything you got coming up, or anything you want to? I don't know. Yeah, the floor is yours now, sir.
Yeah, well, just before I go, of course, these two big shows. If you're a wrestling fan, Pro Wrestling Noah, this Saturday the 13th. Then we've got the Rise World Series in Osaka on Sunday the 14th, and like we just talked about, the Pancrase 325 on December the 12th. I should be able to give some quintet announcements soon. We had to cancel one show at the end of this year. But we will probably be doing another number series show, not a quintet fight night show, a number series show. So a big one in the early months, maybe late winter, early spring next year. So quintet coming your way if you like that 5-on-5 grappling stuff. And of course, yeah, all the Rise tournaments next year, the World Series, the Queen of Queens, the Open Finger tournaments, open finger glove tournaments. Yeah, there's some big things coming next year, and yeah, kicking off on January the 1st with the Noah Pro Wrestling Noah show at the Nippon Budokan.
So just a reminder, Noah available on Wrestling Universe, Rise this weekend, available on Fight, and Pancrase next month, available on Ticket. Okay. And yeah, if you want, you can follow Stewart Fulton at S Fulton MMA. That's the Twitter, I think.
I changed it.
I thought Twitter. You did. I knew it was different. I tried to find the only like, wait, hold on. Why is it not working? I thought it was different.
I thought I would get more on board with an easier to find handle. So it's underscore Stewart Fulton.
Yes, underscore Stewart Fulton. So yeah, you can find him that way. And yeah, you can hear him on Noah, Rise, and hopefully eventually back on Pancrase. But regardless, Stewart, appreciate your time talking about all this great stuff that's happening. I'm looking forward to all this stuff that's happening. Even if it's great. That's time to be a fight fan right now. 10 years ago, you wouldn't be able to get like access to like a quarter of this stuff. And like you have to wait a week, 2 or whatever to get this stuff. But appreciate all the work you're doing to get this stuff out there over here. And yeah, I'm looking forward to all the stuff that's going to happen this week, and Noah and all that great and everything. I'm really excited.
Yeah, good stuff. Good times, Andrew, and thanks for your support always. The scene out here is awesome, and it needs more light shone on it, and you're one of those doing that, so much appreciated.
Trying my hardest over here. Trying my hardest.